Hey, what's going on? East Tactics back with another video. I'm wanting to share a little something about another tactic that I consider to be wise practice. So what we're going to talk about today are the droop screws, upgrading your droop screws to a better quality so that you don't damage your chassis, as well as how to properly set the droop on your vehicle. So first thing I want to kind of show here, I've got the back end taken apart, and if you look here, you'll notice two different spots of where my stock droop screws have damaged the chassis. The reason why there's two spots is because I've changed to the RPM lower A-arms, and so I think the stock ones were the inner hole and the outside hole or mark is the new A-arms. Let me do a little bit closer look so you guys can see the damage that's being done. Let me turn the light off so you can see it better. But if you look closely, I mean, it is literally sinking into the chassis. Basically, how is it possible that your droop is ever going to be set if it's literally just digging a hole in your chassis? So that's unacceptable. So you need to upgrade your droop screws and get away from the stock droop screw. So here's the lower A-arm on the back end. Your droop screw is here. And if you look closely, you can see how tiny the head is on that, and you can also see that by its design it is extremely sharp. You can imagine why it's digging into the chassis. So we're going to remove this droop screw and put in an upgraded droop screw from TLR or Team Losi Racing. And this is the upgrade. Part number TLR 245000, and let me open this up and show you one of these droop screws up close. So these droop screws are actually fatter. They do have a inlet on the top end as well as on the bottom end. So the nice thing about that is you're going to install, once you've installed these, you can adjust it from the top. Now notice the size of the head is much larger. It's got a huge footprint, and it's not going to damage your chassis. And here's the bit that you need to do it with. It is a 5/32. So first we need to remove the old one. So the old one actually has a little bit more length on it. That's okay. Once you've drilled the hole, you screw the new one up in through the bottom. So when installing these droop screws the first time, you do have to screw them up through the bottom, and then after that you can adjust them from the top. Now I will say that this 5/32 drill bit hole does seem a lot smaller. Almost as if you want to put a larger hole in it, but all you have to do is just press hard enough to get it in there, and it goes in. Now you'll notice that because it's a much shorter droop screw, that it actually doesn't come through the top as far, but it's in there enough, and you can then tighten it and loosen it from the top. So that's the first one installed. You can see how much larger of a footprint that has, as to prevent damaging your chassis. Alright, now we're going to drill the second one. Alright, so both Droop screws are installed from the bottom. You can kind of see how much I left. And again, it's pretty far down in there. I actually do wish that it was a bit longer. However, it does feel like it's in there enough to do the job, and it's not gonna rip out or strip out, because again, I was real happy with that 5/32 feeling slightly small. So alright, so I'll come back when I've got this more put together and I can show you how to properly set the droop for your vehicles. Alright, and now that we have those new droop screws installed, let me show you real quick. Here. You see there's a much larger footprint. So now I'm going to show you real quick the proper way to set your droop on your vehicle. There are other YouTube videos out there that are actually showing you a slightly incorrect way, and so I want to just make sure that I correct that so that you guys know where the proper placement is for your droop. So first thing you're going to want to do is disconnect it. I prefer to do it from the top section, the top of the shocks. I just find it a little bit easier. So I'm going to remove it. I've got a couple of washers. Now these shock towers are actually an upgraded shock tower. I do have another video that you could check out that shows you what brand shock tower this is, as well as where to get it, or at least the part number on it. Let me go ahead and turn a light on so you can see a little better. So yeah, this is an upgraded shock standoff is what it's called. I do recommend it. Check out the other video to get the details on it. So, the best way for you to set your droop is when you go to put this thing over, you want to actually push down on the shock a little bit. So right now, it slides right on, just in its natural full length. It just slides right on. That's actually not what you want. You want to have to compress the shock a little bit and then put it on. It does allow you to adjust the level of droop from the top. So that screw that we put in there is specially designed to allow an Allen wrench to go in from both the top and the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and get my Allen wrench and adjust. Okay, so as I'm turning this clockwise, it's raising my shock just a little bit. So now let's test it. In order for me to get my shock onto the shock standoff, I actually have to depress the shock slightly, and then it fits on. All right, let's pop around to the other side. Take off my nut and my 2 washers. Now, all right, so this one looks like it's correct as it stands where it's at, because in order for me to put this back on, I have to push down slightly on the shock and then slide it over. My bushing doesn't want to cooperate. There we go. Okay, so that is how you set proper droop. You want there to be a little bit of squeezed tension between the 2 shock endpoints for your droop to be set properly. And that pretty much sums it up, guys. That's the proper way to set your droop. You do that on both the back end and the front end. Same concept applies. So ultimately what I wanted to show you in this video was those better droop screws with the larger foot so that they're not going to damage your body, and how to properly set up your droop with your vehicle. Thanks guys, I appreciate it. If you like this video and it's been helpful, give it a thumbs up, and if you like my videos, go ahead and subscribe. I really appreciate it, guys. Ace Tactics out.